Hey guys, I'm Tyler from Righteous Gaming. Thanks for taking time to watch my video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Our next goal is to get 1,000 subscribers. So today I wanted to talk about the state of the current Flesh and Blood market. We have Compendium of Wraith, Flesh and Blood's next set, coming up on the horizon, and I wanted to talk a little bit about where things stand in the marketplace of Flesh and Blood before this new set comes out. But before I do, I wanted to tell you about my Discord server. We have a Discord server where we engage in lots of market based discussion, where we talk about the game, talk about the meta, and right now I currently have a giveaway going. We're giving away two of the exclusive metal fab tokens from Worlds of the Liberty Bell, the resource counter. So if you want to have a chance at winning that, then please join the server, check the giveaways tab, and react accordingly. So there's been a lot of talk online about collectors, players leaving the game, collectors being upset because of the reprints and Compendium of Wraith. And I just wanted to talk a bit about that from a vendor's perspective, from someone who's been out there at events, talking to players, buying and selling cards. I just don't think that any of this negative talk online is true, from based on what I've seen. Since Worlds, I've vended three events. I vended Calling Seattle in December. I vended the Battle Hard in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and just last weekend, I vended the Calling Columbus. And I can tell you that from what I've been seeing at these events, from the players that I've talked to, they're very excited about Flesh and Blood right now and where it's going in the future. These events have left the booth with high number of sales, high number of trades, and not a lot of buying actually, which tells me that players aren't really selling cards. They're wanting to buy cards, they're acquiring cards, and they're trading for the cards that they want. They're not selling out of the game. I've bought in very few collections at these events. I bought in few collections online. If anything, people are consolidating their collection. They're getting out of classes that they haven't played in a while, that they don't want to be in, and using the money as trade-in credit to acquire new cards of heroes they do want to play. And so all this talk online about Flesh and Blood dying or collectors leaving the game, players losing interest, I don't think that's true at all because our numbers at the booth haven't showed that. In fact, our numbers at the booth have been showing that the game is growing. We've had a couple great weekends in Seattle and Columbus, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And so what this is leading to is a consolidation phase. And so I think a lot of players are maybe not worried about the reprints, but they're acknowledging the reprints that are coming in Compendium of Wraith, and they're adjusting their collecting habits accordingly. There are things that you can be collecting that are safer, like marvels and cold foils, some of the chase cards, and I think that a lot of players are selling out of the stuff that they aren't using anymore. It's this reprint cycle is leading to a greater motivation to consolidate players' collections into things that they're playing, which means that there's more cards coming to the market through trading, through selling right now. And this also means that in the future, there's not going to be as many cards available to come to market. So, a result of this situation going on right now, I think is going to lead to a thinner market in the future and a market that continues throughout 2026 to increase card prices after the reprints, especially if these cards, and certain cards that haven't been reprinted, as well as I think that it leads to a stronger and faster bounce back of cards that are reprinted. And so right now, Fab is hot. Fab is on fire. There are a lot of people that are excited about the game. There are a lot of statistics that LSS is putting out right now that is showing evidence of this. The first was that if you looked at X on Bryce the caster's on the Bryce the caster's X account, he posted that there was a record number of viewers of 4.3 K viewers concurrently on the live stream in Columbus. He said this is the largest viewership of any standalone calling that they've had over the past year. And that's very exciting for the game because that means that a lot of people have eyes on the meta right now. A lot of people have eyes on the game, and a lot of people are engaging in the content, as well as James White has been posting on his X account that there was 20% year-over-year growth in Flesh and Blood from 2024 to 2025, more players than ever in the game. And Brian on his X account posted that there are record numbers of RTN participants. RTNs are larger, and there are more players playing the game right now during this Road to National season than there have been in the past. I'm hearing reports of 50 plus player RTNs consistently all over the US, some in Europe, which is actually a good sign, and some in other parts of the world, such as the Philippines and Brazil. And so all of these things are leading me to think that the game is growing and expanding faster than ever. And so this is all great news for the Flesh and Blood market, for the player base, and it will allow the market to be able to absorb some of these reprints and really set off 2026 to be a good year for Flesh and Blood. So next I want to talk about 2026 and what is coming out for Flesh and Blood, things to get excited for, and where I think the market is going to continue to go over the next year. But before I do, if you guys don't know the value of your collection, there's an easy way to find out, and that's findelscollection.com. If you use promo code RIGHTEOUS, you will be able to get 1 month free trial to the premium features of Findels Collection. But even if you don't want to use the premium version, the collection tracker is great for keeping track of your collection, the value of it, seeing prices as they decrease for a Compendium of Wraith and then increase in the future. And getting onto that website now is going to allow you to track the value of your cards throughout the year. And so I really recommend this website. It's what we use for all of our pricing at all of our events, and it takes prices directly from TCG Player lowest listings and puts them into the spreadsheet for you and tracks them over a graph. So it's really cool. I recommend it. Get the 1 month free trial, promo code RIGHTEOUS. The link to the website will be in the description of the video. 2026 preview, we got 3 sets coming out. We got Compendium of Wraith coming out in less than a month. We're getting close. It's very exciting. I'm very excited for this set. I'm going to give more in-depth thoughts in a video coming up later this week. But I think that this set is going to be great for the game and great for the market and the player base of Flesh and Blood. The second set, we got a set coming out before Nationals in May. And so if it's anything like recent history, the best set of the year is usually in this summer slot. A couple of years ago, we had Part the Mistveil. Last year, we had High Seas, and so we can expect a banger set. There's a few different theories and ideas that people have about this set. First is that it could finally be Monarch Part 3, the end of the Monarch trilogy. They've been spoiling it and hinting at it throughout many years now, ever since Dusk Till Dawn, that, hey, we got a third part coming. And I think they were finally almost there. In The Hunted, last year we got a CNC reprint art of what looked like a light Solana army. This next set, they've revealed that we're getting a CNC reprint with shadow art of the Shadow Army in marching towards Solana. So this is setting up for the Great Battle. And so I think that this is going to definitely, this set's going to definitely come either this summer or this fall. And so I think we can expect it in one of those 2 slots. Me personally, I think it's coming in the fall. The fall is set 20. I think that's going to be a big milestone for Flesh and Blood, setting up for Worlds, a light and shadow battle at Worlds this year. So this summer set, I think, is likely going to stem around talents. Arya could be. We could see possibly a return of Dromai, return of Iyslander. Actually, not Dromai. Dromai, they said it's going to come out next year. Return of Iyslander. TCG Ted thinks that it's going to be a fire and ice theme with like Jarl and Blaze and Yoji and Iyslander. I think that's a very good guess. Could very well be fire and ice. Viserai could come back in the late sets. There's a lot of different heroes that could be reprinted. There's some new heroes that they have been brewing, I'm sure. And so all I know is that there's a lot in the works for these next 2 sets. Both of them will be draftable, and yeah, I'm just very excited to see what they are beyond Compendium of Wraith. We got a new format coming up this year, Silver Age, Commons, and Rares, with an enhanced ban list. I think this format's going to take off. There's a lot of players that I've talked to that are very excited about this format. When I was at the Battle Hard in Atlanta, which was at an SCG Con, which if you aren't familiar with SCG Cons, they're primarily Magic focused events, but they have lots of different card games and tournaments running there. Not just Magic, not just Flesh and Blood, but many different card games. And so I was able to talk to a few players that were considering getting into the game. You know, Flesh and Blood has to learn to play booth at these events, and being one of the only Flesh and Blood vendors at these events, they were coming. Newer players were talking to me about how to best get into the game, and there are many new players that I talked to that were wanting to get into the game right now because they saw Silver Age coming, they saw cheaper cards coming in, and man, it was just so easy to give the new player pathway by saying, hey, wait a couple weeks, pick up these new Sage decks, go play at your LGS. They say that these decks are going to be tier 1 right out of the box. They're going to be very playable, and I think that's a great way for players to get started with the game so that until they grow their collection. And so I think Silver Age is going to just completely do great things for the game moving forward. And so they're even putting these in Pro Tours and callings, and I think that this is huge. This is great news. I mean, there's not a lot of other games that has a cheap, accessible format that players can play and do well at and not have to pay a ton of money for. I've talked to many older players who haven't played Fab in a year or two, and I tell them about Silver Age and how they can go play a calling with a Silver Age deck, and they're very excited. Like some of those players will get back into Fab because of these Silver Age events. They say, yeah, I can go play in a Silver Age calling. I'd love to do that, you know. And so that helps pay for some of the travel costs to go to the larger events. They don't have to buy a full-on deck. They can just buy $20 deck, throw some couple upgrades in it maybe, and then go play in the calling. And so for new and for old players alike, I think this is going to be a great format for Flesh and Blood. And I think right now Flesh and Blood has set themselves up for success. So this past weekend in Calling Columbus, there was a major youth volleyball tournament. So to use a volleyball analogy, Flesh and Blood LSS has set the ball, and now they're ready to spike it and win. So I think that's what's coming up. There's more events next year. They're going from 21 callings to 36 callings. There's not going to be any more Battle Hardens, which is great. Many players complain about Battle Hardens being a small prize pool and not worth the travel it took to get to these events. It helps with event consolidation for them. They don't have to run as many weekends, but they can run bigger weekends and just make them all callings. And so I'm excited to go to a lot of these. We're planning on going. We're doing from 15 events last year. We're planning on going to 24 events next year. The travel schedule's a lot busier. There's a lot more business going on, and I think that's going to lead to a lot more players getting into the game because there's going to be more events that are more accessible to them. And so I think that overall that's great for the game. Lots of room for growth. The events may be a little bit smaller on average because there's more of them, but I think that LSS is laying the foundation and the framework to grow in the future. I think that's what they're expecting, a huge 2026, and I think that they're going to hit on it. They're changing event host next year. Star City Games is getting out of the event hosting space in the U.S. Fab Foundry is hosting a lot of them, which they've been great so far. Laughing Dragon also been great. Is going to be hosting a few of them. Laughing Dragon is hosting Nationals, and Star City is hosting Pro Tour Vegas. And so for the U.S., I think the event hosts are locked in, and that LSS has some strength to build on with those two hosts so far. And so I'm excited to see how they grow and what they do for the events in the U.S. in the future. And I just wanted to point out that no other game has this kind of event circuit. I mean, we have 36 callings around the world, and that's very exciting. They're giving out tens of thousands of dollars at each of these events. Then they're introducing showdown, so there's a 10K, 20K, or 30K on Saturday, and then a 5K on Sunday, with lots of side events going on. And so there's no other game right now that is providing opportunities for its players to play at such a high level so frequently. And so this is one thing that sets Flesh and Blood apart. If you're a newer player, if you haven't been out to any of these events before, please go. Please go to either Nationals or the Pro Tour in Vegas. Will be the two best options to go this year. But if there's one coming near you and you can make it, if it's a drive for you, please go to these events. They're awesome. They're a lot of fun. It's great to just get to play Flesh and Blood all weekend with like-minded individuals, meet some of the top players in the game, and experience what Flesh and Blood is all about with people who love the game with you. And so event schedule is going to be great. They're going to be doing more conventions as well. If you go to any board game conventions, please stop by the LSS booth. They're going to be running tournaments and learn to plays there as well. So they expanded into that last year, and I only imagine that they're going to be going strong into that this next year as well. And finally, there's going to be more products this year. Armory decks were great for the game last year. They came out with a slew of Armory decks, which really helped players get into the game. You could go, if you don't have a deck to play, you could just buy that one at your store and play in your CC Armories. Not all of them were hits, I would say. Some of them weren't that great. Others were better. Ira probably being the best one last year. But I think that they're growing and they're learning from it and they're improving upon that. And just having them out is a big step for them and a big a bright spot for the future, for their future. Right now, we know that we're getting Hala in April, and this week we've learned some of the spoiler cards in it. She's looking very interesting. We'll need to see more of her equipment, more of her cards to tell for sure if this is going to be a hit or if it's going to be a miss. But I know that Warrior players are excited to get some support with this set, so we'll see what kind of support that they get. We got 2 Mastery sets. Man, I love Mastery sets. Mastery sets was probably my favorite product this year. I've said it before that Guardian Mastery Pack was my favorite set this year. It was a lot of fun to open, a lot of fun to play, and I think that although the player reception wasn't the best on this set, I think that it set the groundwork and foundation for success in the future. We're getting 2 Mastery Packs this year, which is going to be 2 Crack Shuffle Play sets, and I'm excited to see which classes they end up choosing. My guess on that is probably Ranger will be in one. Maybe we get like a new class on the other, maybe like a Necromancer. That'd be pretty cool. But those are probably my 2 guesses for now. But those sets are great since Fab only releases 3 main sets a year, which is less than most games. Most games at least do 4. These Mastery Packs help fill the gap in between sets, especially when there's not a competitive season in between sets, or when there's one but it ends with a month or 2 to go for the set cycle. Still, these are great products to fill in the gap on the sets. Finally, we're getting Sage decks. We're getting 10 Sage decks in February. We're getting another 5, I believe, later in April. Sage decks are going to be great. They're going to be people that collect all of them, that want all of them. They're going to be people that get into the game because of these Sage decks. If you forget your deck at a calling or want to switch decks, you can just go buy one from a vendor to go play. It'd be great for getting new players into the game. You say, hey, you show up to your local armory, you pay $20, and now you're competing with everyone else there at your armory. So they're great. I mean, I think it's a great product. The fact that they also decided to put a pack of Competing with Wraith in there, even better. You get some cards that you can mix into your deck with that pack. But overall, I think the Sage decks are a home run. I think they're going to be very popular. And I'm hoping they're accessible for new players throughout the year as well. So overall, there's lots of exciting things to look forward to next year. I think Fab is setting itself up for their best year yet, and they're not showing signs of slowing down. So as we start 2026, I think coming after Christmas is always a low in the market. I think after Christmas, January, we're going up a little bit. I'm starting to see cards getting bought out on TCG Player. People are buying stacks of Majestics and other cards from my TCG Player store, multiples, 10, 20 copies of a Majestic. This is great news to me for the game because it means that players are excited about buying cards. They think that there's some growth in the game. If people didn't think the game was going to grow, they wouldn't be buying out cards. And so I think it's a great sign for the growth of the game. We're going to, Compendium of Wraith may drop the price of a lot of these reprints. I'm hearing there's going to be a lot of reprints in the set. And so as the cards get reprinted, the market will go down slightly. And then in a couple months, it's just going to steadily go right back up. We've seen that with previous reprints of cards. CNC went to $50 before it went back up to $80. Tunic went down to $80 before it went back up to $120. So the reprints are going to help ease the market for a while, especially if they do the reprints like they have done with cards in the past. If these cards are the hot pull rates are high, like Felling and Plow Wonder, we might be in for a bit of trouble. But I think overall the growth, Compendium of Wraith is setting the game up for growth over the next 3 or 4 years until another reprint set comes, and that LSS just honestly they just know what they're doing. They know that the game is growing. They know that they need to put more cards into the market of particular cards, and they're doing it. There's going to be a lot of success that comes from what LSS is doing. And I have full confidence in their ability to manage the game, to grow the game, and I'm only looking forward to the best this year. So I appreciate you guys watching my video, for tuning into the channel. Thanks for all the nice words that you've given me in the comments, through private messages, at events. I love seeing you guys at events, and so I do this for you guys. I make videos to inform you guys about what I see as a vendor in Flesh and Blood, where I think the market is going to go. As someone who is constantly in this game, Flesh and Blood is my full-time job, and so I think that I have at least a little bit of a decent perspective to talk about some of the things that I'm seeing within the market, within the game. And so if you guys need anything, please reach out. I'm here for you guys. Our next event will be World Premiere London. Following that, we'll be calling San Diego, and so I'd love to see you guys at one of these events. Stop by and say hi. If you guys need any cards or anything for these events, please let me know, and I'll do my best to acquire those for you.